Your fear brings you pain. We know pain.
Welcome back, Barbarians, to another Destiny 2 video. Today we're going to dive into this week's TWAB, where we go through quite a few new kind of details regarding upcoming Lightfall, and I just want to make it a point to pop out some of the most important ones and vital to us as a community and to the gameplay moving forward. There are some spicy things in here, folks, so don't forget to drop a like on this video if you do find it informative. Alright, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Talking about the campaign in Lightfall, there's essentially, without reading this verbatim, there's going to be a scaler for the size of your fire team, 1, 2, or 3 folks in there, and then depending on incoming damage, number of revives, and the strength of the enemies is all going to vary on that. So make no mistake, essentially, that bottom line is saying this is going to be hard, and they haven't even alluded to what the Tormentors do yet as far as their abilities and the way they can kind of interact with us on the battlefield. So I'm very excited about that. The next piece is diving into the competitive modes, and essentially the waiting with Rift and Showdown. So those two Crucible modes, they think they're important. However, they understand that players don't really want to run into those all the time. So they're going to decrease their RNG, or their, not decrease, but the rate at which they show up. So Survival will show up roughly 2/3 of the time, and Rift and Showdown will be 1/3 of the time as a split. So pretty healthy change there, I think, to the competitive division. And I'm really looking forward to hopping in. Personally, I like Showdown and Survival. Rift in 3s just isn't really my thing. You know, it's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. All right, let's go ahead and talk about difficulties. So this is essentially just an overview talking about the different, I guess, terminology. Surges, threats, and overcharges. There's a strike refresh and a scoring system. The power level disadvantages will make Nightfalls more challenging, and Lost Sectors, Raids, Dungeons, PvE activities will be more challenging on Legend and Master difficulties. So this overall, I think, is a great change for solo players. I think it's going to be very beneficial, and something I hope we feel, it's tangible. We don't necessarily feel like we're stomping content anymore. Let me also just make a point that I think the power fantasy still needs to exist in terms of being powerful enough to just decimate small ads. Another thing they kind of dive into for Season 20 is a new feature called Not Swap, which is a modifier for trials and competitive. And essentially, you can't change your exotic during a match, or I should say you can, but the repercussions of that are that you lose all your ability energies removed, just as if you swap subclass. So this is including your super. So they're going to monitor gameplay and community discussion around this issue. Not currently planning on adding this to Gambit or other Crucible playlists. And they're not planning on adding it to PvE, which, to be honest, I think if they went that route, that would be a complete miss. This is just my opinion. I just don't think that would be healthy for PvE gameplay. Maybe in certain modes, they already have that, like a locked loadout. So I don't really see the need for Not Swap in PvE. All right, one of my personal favorites here, we're going to talk about loadouts. Making your in-game merits more obvious and giving others the opportunity to say nice things about you. Oh, hell, they do. How you played surely must feel nice. Feels so deep and good in my heart. That's why Guardian ranks and commendations are crucial additions to Destiny 2. We're revamping the build crafting experience for all players with our new mod customization system and giving everyone the ability to create and switch builds on the fly, in addition to loadouts. This, as a day one, even beta Destiny player, this is what I'm most excited for. I think the ability to change your loadouts and save them, more importantly, is fundamental to the game. This has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited for that one. Next, this is something I don't think anyone's talking about, but specifically when they talk about the artifact, which I'll get to in a second, they talk about they literally lay out all the perks you can unlock with the artifact, and one of them is Rain of Firebolts. When you have a firebolt grenade equipped, gain a second grenade charge. I looked through most of the artifact and got pretty excited. A lot of strand things and synergy there and build crafting to be had, but this stuck out as kind of a a nugget, among all the crap. Not that it's crap, but clearly it stood out for me. This seems powerful. I mean, there's some exotics and legendaries that come to mind, and abilities, especially with Solar 3.0. One last point on the Firebolts. I think it's going to be pretty strong in Trials of Osiris and the competitive playlist, having 2 of those. I don't know if it's going to be the best, because Strand's going to dominate, but I digress. And lastly, let's go ahead and chat about Artifice Armor. Now has artifact perks. Our artifact mods now have artifact perks. They're applied passively, so as soon as you unlock them, you can just put them into different armor, which is fantastic. 12 perks are unlockable per character, and they can be reset. You can reset the artifact at no cost. It's about time, so you can play around with many different builds. And the anti-champion weapons featured on the artifact can also be overcharged in higher difficulty activities. And kind of the TLDR there is that some weapons can run, 2 stunning abilities, which is something we haven't seen before, and definitely is going to have a big impact on endgame activities in that regard. And then the final point is the change for Artifice Armor. It is retroactive to all current Artifice Armor, so if you've been grinding for it, that's going to pay off in Lightfall, and we're going to see the ROI on that shortly. Alright, that's the summary of this week at Bungie. If you did find this video helpful, please drop a like down below. Greatly helps me out. And I'm going to leave the video to play out the trailer. See you barbarians next time. Peace.
What is that? The witness. The malefactor of our first collapse is at our doorstep. You have no purpose. Because you fear to seek one. That fear is your failure. This is what you Vanguard to all units. Keep the enemy away from the Traveler at all costs. This is what you get when you mess with us. I understand what's at stake, like there. Not all of us have lives to spare. Your fear brings you pain. We know pain. Our purpose is its end. The battle begins here and now. This is what you get. When you mess with us.